He's, of course, meeting for the first time in court today. It was about a 90-minute hearing.
This isn't going to end well for you, Blake. Sorry.
In a world where sometimes people judge you before they give you.
Breaking news, Justin Baldoni just got a big win, meaning Blake Lively got a big loss. But we had breaking news pop in, and Greg was nice enough to help explain these new subpoenas that have been denied. This came in from Judge Lyman. Now, for those just understanding, so just give the recap, and then I want to get your legal sort of understanding. From the way I've read these new subpoenas that came in previously, Team Blake was trying to basically ask for like 2.5 years worth of cell phone records, everything, locations, all this data, which felt very evasive.
What if the star everyone adored suddenly became the villain of her own story? That's exactly what's happening with Blake Lively right now, and the details are downright wild. One moment, she's America's sweetheart, everyone's favorite, down-to-earth actress who bakes cookies and cracks jokes on social media. The next, she's locked in a messy legal battle against director Justin Baldoni, facing accusation after accusation about hijacking a movie she was only supposed to act in. Now, the court has ruled in Baldoni's favor, leaving Blake scrambling to salvage what's left of her image and career. Is this the beginning of the end for the Lively Reynolds empire? Or can she somehow claw her way back from total humiliation? Keep watching.
It's interesting, as I go through this doc, because I'm just trying to understand the reaching and what they can actually get. The Wayfarer object to the fact that even as modified, the subpoena continues to cover call text logs revealing the phone numbers for anyone with whom Wayfarer parties and others individuals communicated. It's absurd that they were going on this level.
The courtroom drama started off quietly, but exploded once Blake Lively tried to slap Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios with a gag order. She claimed the publicity was getting too extreme, that her reputation was being irreparably harmed, and insisted Baldoni's lawyer needed to stay silent. The judge didn't just deny her request, he threw it out with almost zero hesitation. Think about it. Blake wanted the world to stop talking about her legal issues, yet her own camp had allegedly been leaking dirt to mainstream outlets just days before. Some fans call that hypocritical. The judge simply called it unfounded. This legal defeat was a colossal blow. Instead of controlling the narrative, Lively is now at the mercy of Baldoni's very vocal attorney, who seems more than happy to expose every behind-the-scenes fiasco that shaped this disastrous production.
We need these untraceable the campaign. Now, the judge makes a point of like, well, then why do you need 2 years worth? In her own suit, she alleges this campaign started in August. So why the reach for 2.5 years? Was nice to see the judge really sort of acknowledge that. Here.
What's even more fascinating is how quickly the court dismissed her other demands. Lively tried to avoid a deposition, citing her high-profile status, and arguing she'd already provided written statements. But the court wasn't having it. If she wants to accuse Baldoni of harassment and sabotage, she has to show up in person to answer questions. No hiding behind press releases and carefully curated social media posts. And as everyone knows, depositions are where careers often go to die. Once you're under oath, every text message, every email, and every suspicious conversation is fair game. It's no wonder that legal experts are calling this a major turning point in Lively's case. If she's exaggerating or fudging the timeline in any way, Baldoni's team will uncover it. So how did a simple adaptation of a popular novel spiral into one of Hollywood's nastiest wars? According to multiple insiders, Blake Lively wanted more than just an executive producer credit.
Remember, Justin accused his co-star and Ryan Reynolds of trying to steal the movie from him. Now, a resurfaced video seems to support that claim. Listen to what Blake said 2 years ago at the Forbes Power Women's Summit.
I don't want to just be an actor. I want to have more authorship. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that. For them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull.
All right, cut.
She wanted to be the primary shot caller on It Ends With Us. Some rumors say she was rewriting scenes on the fly, making last-minute costume changes, and even bringing in her own editor. That might sound like artistic dedication, but it rubbed Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios the wrong way. Why? Because the production schedule was in constant flux, budgets were ballooning, and the original vision for the movie was getting lost in the chaos. Studios generally love an involved star, but not when it jeopardizes their entire project. Then came the straw that broke the camel's back. back, the unauthorized screening. Lively allegedly arranged a private showing for a select audience while the movie was still in rough-cut form. Wayfarer Studios claims they were blindsided. Screening an unpolished version can mess up distribution plans and risk negative buzz if the footage isn't final. But apparently, Blake was hoping to generate early excitement and gather creative feedback. Instead, she ended up violating industry norms and, according to some, creating a PR nightmare.
I mean, that's not authorship. That's not autonomy. That's control. That's selfishness. That's entitlement. This woman is a monster.
Baldoni's legal team has used this incident to highlight how she consistently overstepped, treating the film as if she owned it outright, rather than being part of a larger collaboration. Not long after the unauthorized screening fiasco, stories suddenly began popping up in major newspapers painting Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios as out-of-touch control freaks. Articles portrayed Blake as a victim of behind-the-scenes bullying who was just trying to be creatively fulfilled. Some fans immediately suspected her team fed those narratives to the press. Why? The timing was too perfect. It happened right after Baldoni filed his countersuit, and it conveniently placed him in the hot seat. A few defenders of Lively said the leaks were purely coincidental and that she had every right to defend herself in the court of public opinion, but the judge didn't buy that spin. Instead, he noted that Blake's attempt to shut down Baldoni's lawyer was contradictory, given how her camp was already out there fueling the headlines. Now that her gag order is squashed, Baldoni's attorney has no reason to hold back. He's openly discussing alleged backroom deals, hush-hush phone calls, and even rumored text messages that show how Blake plotted to gain more control.
I'm sorry, and everyone's asking what year. This is 2022. This is literally a year right before they shot the movie. So she is going into this movie knowing, yep, that's what I do.
He calls her entire legal strategy a dishonest campaign, which is pretty brutal language coming from a high-profile attorney. Meanwhile, fans on social media are torn. Some are rallying behind Lively, insisting she's being demonized for doing what many producers do, take charge. Others see her as an entitled star who couldn't handle the word no and resorted to dirty tactics. Wherever you stand, there's no question that Blake's once spotless image has taken a serious hit. Blake Lively isn't the only one under scrutiny. Her husband, Ryan Reynolds, has been dragged into the fray. At first glance, it might look like typical spouse support. He's just defending his wife, right? But some fans suspect there's a deeper layer. Allegations are swirling that Reynolds grew uneasy about how close Lively and Baldoni had become on set. A few watchers even claim that Reynolds was furious over a dance scene he felt too closely mirrored a pivotal moment in his own film, Green Lantern, where he famously met and fell in love with Blake. Add to that rumors of late-night text messages between Lively and Baldoni, and you've got a recipe for jealousy. In Hollywood circles, it's not unusual for spouses to weigh in on each other's careers, but some say Reynolds might have encouraged Lively to file certain legal claims, or at least didn't discourage her from going nuclear. In the eyes of cynics, Ryan's involvement is straightforward, removing competition and protecting the power couple brand.
According to those texts, on February 8th, 2023, Baldoni reached out to Ryan Reynolds saying he would like them to be friends. Reynolds allegedly responding, "You've been a wonderful collaborator with B, and that meant a great deal to both of us. Being a stand-up person is everything, and you've been just that since day one. Thank you. I happen to adore you, Justin."
Justin Baldoni was an up-and-coming filmmaker, and if It Ends With Us became a smash, it could have vaulted him into A-list territory. That might not sit well with someone as image-conscious as Ryan Reynolds, who has a history of meticulously managing his public persona. Of course, none of this has been proven in court. It's mostly fan speculation based on timing and circumstantial evidence. Still, the idea of Reynolds pulling strings behind the scenes is too juicy for people to ignore. Hollywood isn't just gossiping, it's making moves. Studio executives are risk-averse creatures who hate negative press more than anything. According to insider reports, multiple projects that once included Blake Lively's name are now on hold. Netflix was rumored to be eyeing her for a starring role in a psychological thriller, but those talks mysteriously evaporated. One Warner Brothers producer told Deadline, off the record, that Lively has become a liability, and they're hesitant to pour millions into a film only only to watch it get overshadowed by her personal drama. It's a harsh pivot for someone who was once considered a reliable box office draw with a squeaky clean brand. Justin Baldoni hasn't escaped unscathed either. Early on, the scandal caused him to lose deals, sponsorships, and even representation. But with the court ruling in his favor on key motions, he's beginning to regain some footing. A few independent producers have expressed interest in working with him, seeing him as the underdog who refused to bow to star power.
Are you happy?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I wasn't.
Yet, Baldoni's future remains uncertain. Studios love a comeback story, but they also weigh financial risks. If the public ultimately sides with Blake, or if more damaging revelations come out, Baldoni might find himself in a tough spot once again. For now, at least, the legal scoreboard shows him on top. One of the strangest subplots of this entire drama is Blake Lively's relationship with her co-star, Isabella Ferreira. Ferreira, only 23 at the time of filming, reportedly got an ultra VIP treatment from Blake. Think fancy gifts, personal invites to family gatherings, and ongoing late-night chats about the movie. Fans initially found it sweet, believing Blake was mentoring a rising star. But once the lawsuit heated up, theories sprouted that Lively was actually grooming Ferreira as a legal ally, someone who could back her allegations about Baldoni if push came to shove. Some point out how Ferreira publicly praised Blake for making her feel safe, yet avoided any detailed mention of the alleged misconduct from Baldoni.
Oh, absolutely. She's so capable of that. She is a powerhouse. She can do literally anything. She has just, I don't know what she's seen in me, but I think we both just understood that support is so important, especially through a process like this, and especially with a book like this, that to be able to connect with the person that you're sharing a role with is huge. And she's just a really good person.
Critics argue this is a glaring power dynamic issue. Lively is a Hollywood veteran with loads of influence, while Ferreira is a newbie who can't afford to make the wrong enemies. Was she genuinely speaking her truth? Or was she saying what she thought Blake wanted to hear? Only they know the real story. But the suspicion alone is enough to cast a shadow on Ferreira's statements and on Blake's motivations. If the lawsuit does go to trial, Ferreira's testimony could become a pivotal moment, either a saving grace for Blake or a revealing clue that dismantles her version of events. After the fiasco with the leaked footage, the unauthorized screening, and the news articles painting Baldoni as a villain, you'd expect Hollywood A-listers to come out of the woodwork to defend someone like Blake Lively.
I appreciate all you've done to help us catch up and the extra work and energy you've put in. It has not gone unnoticed. Lively responded, "Thanks so much for this text. I appreciate your empathy and I give it in return." Lively's camp not responding to Baldoni's website directly, but her attorney saying after court, "We are confident that once all the evidence is submitted in this matter, Miss Lively will prevail."
Yet, the opposite seems to be happening. Apart from a few cryptic social media posts, major celebrities have been remarkably quiet. Some fans think everyone is just waiting to see who wins the lawsuit. If Blake emerges victorious, they'll jump in to congratulate her. If Baldoni keeps winning in court, they'll remain silent or even publicly support him to stay on the right side. In an industry where loyalty can shift overnight, it's all about reading the room, and the room right now is murky.
Well, Baldoni denies the allegations in a countersuit. He accuses Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds of extortion, defamation, and invasion of privacy.
Meanwhile, tabloid headlines have grown more outrageous by the day. Some are calling Blake an Amber Heard 2.0, accusing her of manufacturing claims to ruin a man's career. Others say she's a modern-day hero, exposing a manipulative system that wants actresses to just stand there and look cute. The debate rages online, and ironically, every new twist only fuels more speculation. That kind of public fervor is precisely what Lively tried to muzzle with the gag order, an effort that has clearly backfired. With each new revelation, the reputation of the Lively Reynolds empire seems more unstable.
How's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Ryan Reynolds, once considered the comedic darling of social media, now faces whispers that he's controlling behind closed doors. If the rumors are true, that he encouraged or orchestrated some of Blake's more aggressive legal strategies, he risks tarnishing his fun-loving brand. Meanwhile, fans are digging up past interviews, analyzing every subtle comment to see if there's any sign of Ryan's jealousy or suspicion. Some speculate that this tension has been simmering for years, and only now, through a very public lawsuit, is it surfacing for the world to see. It's a major departure from the couple's usual lighthearted banter. They built their image on comedic roasts, charitable endeavors, and adorable family moments. Could it have all been a facade? Some fans aren't ready to accept that, yet others point to how drastically public perception of other famous couples changed once the cameras were off. If Blake and Ryan can't steer this narrative soon, they might become the next big cautionary tale in celebrity culture, a reminder that carefully curated social media posts aren't always the full truth.
We help each other, we work together so much. The iconic rooftop scene in this movie, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but you now. He works on everything I do, I work on everything he does, so his wins, his celebrations are mine, and mine are his. I mean, he's all over this film.
The words career suicide have been tossed around by at least one Hollywood analyst, referencing Blake's predicament. That might sound dramatic, but consider how quickly fortunes can change in Tinseltown. One day, you're the star of a critically acclaimed film. The next, you're box office poison. If her upcoming projects flop, or if more negative details come out during deposition, industry executives may write Blake off altogether. The same can happen to Baldoni if, by some chance, new evidence surfaces that implicates him in wrongdoing or proves he manipulated the story. Even if Blake is cleared of any serious allegations, the stigma may linger. Remember how Johnny Depp's name was cleared in court, but studios remained cautious. In Hollywood, a scandal doesn't need to be proven. It just needs to be loud enough to make financiers nervous. And right now, the volume around this case is at full blast. More than just affecting these two individuals, the Blake-Baldoni face-off is generating larger conversations about the entertainment industry's internal power struggles. Some producers fear that if Blake is punished for her creative involvement, it might scare other actresses away from stepping up in the future. Others argue that Lively's approach went far beyond normal collaboration. She allegedly tried to rewrite major parts of a film that already had a director and a vision in place. The real question might be, where's the line between being an active partner on set and orchestrating a full-scale takeover? Then you have the conversation about NDAs, gag orders, and lawsuits used as weapons in Hollywood. Some speculate we're seeing more stars attempting to muzzle critics and coworkers through legal channels, hoping to silence negative press. But in Blake's case, that strategy blew up in her face. Now, attorneys feel emboldened to speak out when they see something amiss, and streaming platforms are starting to demand more transparency from all parties, actors, producers, directors, before they greenlight major deals. One big test of Lively's staying power will be her next major film, rumored to be an untitled crime drama slated for 2025. Studio insiders say it was originally projected to do well. She still has a considerable fan base who loves her comedic timing and glamorous style. But if this legal fiasco continues to dominate headlines, it could overshadow her entire promotional campaign. Audiences might not see the actress they adored. They might only see the woman who tried to bury her director in court. Conversely, if the movie delivers critically and commercially, it might be enough to soften the blow of her recent controversies. Hollywood has a short memory for scandals when money is rolling in. That might be the question that keeps fans glued to every new development. Some fans accuse Justin Baldoni of being manipulative and using the press to paint Blake as unhinged. Others say Blake started this war by attempting to push him aside creatively and then running to the media with half-truths. Then there's Ryan Reynolds, the wildcard figure who may or may not be the puppet master pulling the strings. And let's not forget Isabella Ferreira, the young actress who may have been coerced or genuinely convinced to bolster Blake's claims. In this messy swirl of rumors, theories, and partial disclosures, one thing is certain: everyone has an agenda. With gag orders failing, depositions looming, and public sentiment split down the middle, the future for Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is uncertain at best. The industry is watching to see if Lively's career can survive one of the biggest PR disasters in recent memory. Fans are sharpening their theories, waiting for that next leaked email or courthouse reveal. Will Blake find a way to flip this narrative again, or has she lost too much ground to recover? And what about Ryan Reynolds? Will he finally step up to address these rumors, or keep laying low in the sidelines? No matter which direction this twisted saga goes next, one truth stands out. Hollywood is a place where fame and reputation can vanish in an instant, especially if the public decides you've crossed a line. So buckle up, because this legal battle is far from over, and the real story behind who's pulling the strings might just be getting started. After all, in an industry built on illusions, the biggest twist is often the one you never saw coming. What do you think? Can Blake Lively redeem herself? Or has the court of public opinion already sealed her fate? Comment below, and let's keep this conversation rolling. You won't believe what might surface next, because if there's one thing this scandal guarantees, it's that we've only seen the tip of the iceberg.